everybody, welcome to a very special edition of Octopunk Weekly Update. Really, this is Octopunk Yearly Update. This is the Octopunk 2020 Showcase, where we're going to take you through all that we have planned for the year, or, well, most of it, including a lot of new things that you have never seen before that we haven't talked about before. First off, thank you, Book Drought, for subscribing for 9 months. It reminds me that I still need to make that subscriber badge for 9 months. You know me, I'm just constantly behind on everything. Welcome, everybody. I see a lot of people hanging out with us today. A lot of people excited for what Octopunk has in store. And I'm really excited. I'm among you. We have, of course, Detroit Evolution, as you guys know, coming up in the spring. But there's a lot of stuff. In fact, I can show you the timeline, the MCU-style timeline for everything that we have coming up in this broadcast, and this doesn't even cover all of what I'm going to be talking about today. So buckle in. We're probably going to be here for a good hour. So I don't know. I mean, we might be here for less than an hour, but this is the first time I've done anything this big, and I just know that we do have a lot to get through, and I want to give it all due time, and including a lot of videos and stuff too. So, as you can see, we've got things from February all the way through October. We've actually got a couple of things in February, and those have specific release dates already determined. You probably know what the April and May one is. No, I'm not sitting on a release date yet, and then the rest of the year is a bit of a mystery that you just have to hang around to find out what it is. But I want to get started with that first one, February 14th. Now, anybody... I don't actually know if this is a nationwide thing. I know in America we celebrate Valentine's Day. Actually, I guess it is a nationwide thing, or an international thing, because it is St. Valentine's Day, which I think is originally a Catholic saint's day. Yeah, so Valentine's Day. What do we have coming up for Valentine's Day? Well, I'll take you a little bit back about a year ago to Atomicon 2018. It was when I first met Michael Smallwood, who you all know and love as Chris Miller in the Detroit fan films that we make. And the reason I met Michael Smallwood at Atomicon is because he had put together a really cute sci-fi romance movie called How Many Times? I offered the world premiere of that film at my film festival, Atomicon. It went on to also screen at South Carolina Underground Film Festival and won Audience Choice. So back in November, when you saw him flustered with a statue on Instagram, that was what that was for. And I asked Michael if he had had any sort of distribution for How Many Times yet, or if he had any plans for it. And what ended up happening was he didn't have any real plans for it, and I really liked this film, and I wanted to option it from him. And because it is a bit of a romance, I felt like Valentine's Day was a really appropriate time to release it. So here is the trailer for How Many Times. Hope you enjoy, and I'll tell you a little bit more about it after this.
What do you want, Caleb?
I'm not entirely sure what you want me to say.
Don't tell me to calm down.
You were mad, and I didn't want to lose my shot.
I don't want you to say anything.
All right, so that was the trailer for How Many Times? The writer and director is Michael Smallwood, who you all know as Chris Miller. I really like this film. It's short, it's about 10 minutes, and if you want to watch it as you saw in the trailer, it will be exclusively on Patreon on February 14th. Now that's for all patrons, $1 and up. It's probably going to be the $1 benefit for the whole month. And then anybody who pays $1 and joins Patreon beyond that will be able to go back and watch it. If you don't want to join Patreon, or you can't join Patreon, don't worry, we'll be releasing it publicly as well, probably about 2 to 3 months later, so you can look forward to that in the summer if you're just a YouTube subscriber. All of the films that we're going to be talking about today, I think with the exception of Detroit Evolution, which will, of course, be public, you know, when widely public for everybody when it comes out. We'll have a Patreon exclusive launch, and then will be available to the public a couple months after. There's nothing, I think, that is exclusively Patreon like forever. Everything will get a public release shortly after a Patreon exclusive. It's just early access for patrons. So I hope you look forward to How Many Times, and I guess that means we can add it to the timeline. February 14th, look forward to the Michael Smallwood sci-fi romance time travel film, How Many Times. Now, February 27th. This one is something that is odd for us, because this next thing is not a film. I'm wondering how many of you in the chat like books, especially if you like urban fantasy or contemporary fantasy. Before I was a filmmaker and content creator that you know, I was really, really dedicated to becoming a novelist. And not to say that I haven't always liked film, I've always been involved in film, but for many, many years, I did a hybrid of books and films. And before I ended up sort of solely focusing on films, I spent some time solely focusing on novels. Well, in 2013, I wrote the first draft for the book that would become Paradisa. And after 7 years of working on this book, and 2.5 years since it was optioned by my publisher, John Hartness, I have the official release date of February 27th, 2020 for Paradisa. This is the cover of it. This is the first time we've shown the cover anywhere, so you can kind of get a vibe for what it's about. It has a gay protagonist, Connor Bashara, who was dishonorably discharged from the Navy SEALs because of Don't Ask, Don't Tell. That's kind of where he starts the story. He's a bit listless. He takes care of his 20-year-old sister, who's an engineering major. She is asexual. Her name is Clara. And basically, this whole book is about them becoming soul-bound to some mythological characters and having to save the world. So if you like Greek mythology, Egyptian mythology, angels, archangels, they're all here. It's kind of like the Avengers with gods, is what I like to describe it as. It's definitely an action novel. There is a bit of a romance subplot, but I really wouldn't call it a romance. It's definitely more of like a high-stakes, modern action novel. It's like if National Treasure had like gods in it. That's another kind of example. But yeah, this is going to be available on ebook and print February 27th. John told me he's actually going to have hardcover and paperback. Rin is asking where to pre-order. I've talked to him about pre-orders. They will be available, but not until like probably early mid-February. I think he said it's going to be like 2 to 3 weeks in advance of the 27th. So you will be able to pre-order the ebook and possibly even pre-order the print. I will also have the first print copies of this at Captain Comics Expo in Charleston. So if you live in Charleston, or if you're going to Captain Comics and you want to be the first one to read it, I will have Paradisa copies at my booth, and that'll be the first place anyone can get it. So yeah, I've been working on this for a really long time. It's supposed to be a trilogy. We'll see if I write the other books. We'll see how this one does. You know, I'm contractually obligated, but that can change. So yeah, I hope you guys are excited for that. It is something a little bit different for us, and it isn't through Octopunk. It's just like something that I personally have been working on. And if you're familiar with Falstaff Books, they're a really cool publisher. They're a small press based out of Charlotte. John Hartness, who owns it, has written the Bubba the Monster Hunter series. He's written the Quincy Harker novels, which got noticed by Whoopi Goldberg on The View. So he's a really cool guy. All of the books that he publishes are, you know, he calls them the misfit toys. They're the books that normal publishers or traditional publishers kind of won't touch or are afraid to touch because they have diverse characters, they have quirkiness, they have language, they have blood, they have guts. Mine doesn't, but, you know, just generally. So yeah. Oh, my mom's in the chat. It's a fun book and a very fast read. Well, you know, you have to trust my mother's word for it, right? She's obviously objective. As far as other people in the chat, the only other person who I know has read it is Pillow, because she beta read it for me a few months ago, because I was like, God, I don't want to read this book ever again. I've read it like 70 times at this point. Yes, super objective mother. All right, so that is Paradisa, coming to ebook and print February 27th. Definitely on Amazon, possibly on Nook and some of those other platforms as well. All right, now I'm not gonna play around with what's in April, May. You know what's coming in April, May. It's Detroit Evolution. Now, I don't have a new trailer for you today, that we just had one in January, and we're going to have one soon in a few weeks as well. So we're kind of in an in-between period for Detroit Evolution right now. I'm finishing up Picture Lock. You guys have seen quite a bit recently, and we'll see a lot soon. So I didn't want to reveal too much today, but I do have a special behind-the-scenes featurette that I put together for you guys. It's about 3 minutes long, and it's mostly the actors and the crew talking about what it was like to make the film, kind of what our mission was when making the film, and there's definitely some behind-the-scenes footage and some fun stuff in there. I'm sure there will be lots to inspire gift making and stuff out of this video, just from the fun. It is very non-spoilery. There's nothing that is in this video that wasn't, you know, shown in the trailer or shown in previous stuff. So if you're worried about spoilers or anything, there's definitely not anything that you haven't seen before in here. So yeah, this is our behind-the-scenes featurette on Detroit Evolution. I'm having technical difficulties. Hold on just a sec, guys.
This entire process, as far as like the work of it, this has just felt like a working vacation. Like, you know, we're in Charleston, which I find to be a really beautiful location to begin with, but we're all friends.
Working on the set's been really great because everybody's very collaborative. Even though I'm working as a first AD, it functions as like I'm also a director, and Michelle's always really open to any type of notes for any director on set.
At some point, we've had 4 directors all in the same movie. So Brittany's a director, I'm a director, she's a director, the stunt coordinator was a director, and there's no egos on set. So when you have all those people all with the same goal of creating an awesome film, you know, it's really, really great.
For a writer-director to sit down and like then goes, all right, cool, I want you to contribute, tell me what it is. And she has sat down with me so many times just to like talk about my understanding, talk about ideas I had for how things could go and the progression of things and the relationships that this character gets into with other people. It's just like, for like top to bottom has been one of the most collaborative efforts I've ever felt alongside a director.
She's very focused on actors and she's very focused on story. So the story is very, very important to her. She loves the game, so you can tell that she's very passionate about what the characters are doing.
Really liked that she was focusing on the relationships and furthering, advancing the characters who weren't as like central to the game. We weren't trying to recreate anything that was happening or reinterpret anything from the games. We were taking, you know, important side characters and building the world past that.
These characters are in the game, for the most of them are, but I love that it explains backstory so well. And I think like what I would love to see is these characters, people think of this movie when they see those characters in the game from now on.
She knows the fans really well, and she knows what the fans want to see, and all of that coming together, I think it's going to be exactly what they want to see.
I hope that anyone watching the film in at least one of these characters can see at least 1 or 2 facets of themselves. I mean, we've had so many fans reach out to say that this is something that they are looking forward to, and lots of other things in their life have been dark. I hope that this team and this story continue to be a beacon of light for everyone who gets to see it.
Settle in. This is going to be a much longer film, much more exciting film. it gets to the heart of a lot of the characters in a way that Detroit Awakening didn't do. Look, Detroit Awakening has over 500,000 views. I expect this to do better. So, get on it.
That's a wrap. Yes?
That's a wrap on picture.
I see tears in the chat. That was very heartwarming, yes. I really liked making that. I think it really emphasizes what we're trying to do with the film, who we're trying to reach, who we're making the film for. As you can see, we had a lot of fun. There was a lot of love on that set. And yes, we were dancing because the room was so cold. That was... I wasn't hugging Carla because I liked her. I was hugging her for body heat. Let's just keep that clear. No, we had a lot of fun, and clearly I hugged Carla twice in that bit, so she's awesome. Everybody in that video is awesome. I'm so also very pleased with our cinematographer Brett, who really was able to verbalize a lot of my own feelings about making this film. I didn't get an interview because I looked terrible that day and I was exhausted, and I was like, don't film me. Eventually I'll be doing my own, but I think that they do a good job of talking on my behalf anyway, so I think it works. And as you know, Detroit Evolution is coming in the spring. No, I'm not giving you a release date yet. You'll find out when we drop another trailer, so that'll be in February. I'm still not committing to April or May yet, but I guess that narrows it down to April or May. It's going to be in the spring, and we can't wait to finish it and show you guys that. Now, on to something a little bit different. I'm going to let June relax and chill for a bit, because there's something else I want to talk about that doesn't really have a timeline other than today. I do want to be able to give you something fun for today, especially speaking of Detroit Evolution. I want to talk about merchandising. So I've been hard at work on a new merchandise line for a lot of different types of Octopunk projects. We've got a little bit of Detroit Evolution, a little bit of Livescream, a little bit of general Iggy stuff, and we now have 2 different ways that you can support us with merch, and here they are. So as you know, we have an Etsy store. And we have new Etsy merch available today. If you go on the store right now, you can see this available. Now, I showed you guys this Reed 900 design last week. That's available in a circular sticker form. And we also have a line of Pride Flag Iggy stickers, die-cut Iggy stickers. We've got them in pansexual, bisexual, asexual, trans, and non-binary. Now, I know that there's many, many flags out there, many beyond that, and I'll get to that in a bit, but these are the ones that are available on Etsy because these are the ones that I actually have in stock. Other flags beyond that, like the lesbian flag, for example, will be available in a different way, which I'll show you later. But these are the ones that you can get on Etsy. They are all $3.50 with free international and domestic shipping. So if you just get a sticker or 2 or 3, actually, I don't know, they barely weigh anything. You could probably get a whole buku of stickers and still, you know, be able to have free shipping. But yes, they are $3.50 a piece with free shipping. Etsy.com/shop/Octopunk Media is where you can find these. They are now live, or at least they should be. Somebody tell me if they're not. But we also have a different way of selling merch that I think is a little bit more accessible, and that is on Redbubble. We have just opened a Redbubble store, and we've got all kinds of designs. We've put things on clocks and mugs and cell phones and journals and shirts. We have things coming at you all of all types. And this is just an example of the Detroit Evolution line that we've got. We've got the Reed 900 silhouette design, but we've also got an Ace 9s, a Pan Gavin, and the We All Evolve tagline on our poster background. Because there's nothing like avoiding licensing issues by actually using the word Detroit anywhere. But hopefully, this appeals to you guys, this is octopunkmedia.redbubble.com. There are a lot more things that you can get these designs on. I really tried to adjust all of the designs per the thing that they are on and not sell anything where the design would be warped. If it looked like the design was shoddy on the actual mock-up, I'm not selling it. I'm only selling things, or at least trying to sell things where the design actually looks good on it. But we've got a variety of apparel, a variety of iPad cases, cell phone cases, journals, clocks. You can just get a print, an art print of a lot of these as well if you just want to hang it on your wall. All of these designs were done by me, so they're all custom, and you know, if you see them elsewhere on the internet, let me know, because that's theft. We also have some non-Detroit Evolution stuff up on that store as well. If you've ever wanted to cover anything with Iggy's, that is available on the Redbubble store. We have a whole section that's just patterned Iggy's. You can get them on socks. You can get them on this dress. It's great. And, of course, we have the typical Octopunk Media logo. Kaini has done a really great job of making themselves just things with Iggy on them. But now you can basically get what they have professionally through Redbubble. So they don't have to be alone with the Iggy hoodies and such. And we've got the Livescream logo also available on a variety of products if you dig Livescream and you want to show off your pride for that film. As I mentioned before, with the Pride stickers that are not available on Etsy, right now the lesbian flag is available for die-cut sticker Iggy on Redbubble, and I'll be uploading others as well, like Aromantic. Really, any requests that you have for any specific flags, just let me know, and I'll throw it up on Redbubble. It's just more efficient for me to not have to buy so much upfront in bulk through a distributor like Sticker Mule. Buying them a la carte through something like Redbubble is a lot more cost efficient for everybody, and doesn't mean, and I don't have to keep inventory for it. I don't get as big of a cut of it, but at that point, you know, the stickers aren't really like for major profit. The stickers are more just like because people want to have them and people want to, you know, identify with, you know, putting them on their laptop and stuff. So, yeah. Yes, pattern Iggy dress, A-line Iggy, tank top Iggy, hoodie Iggy. I kind of want that dress myself, honestly. Like, I don't know if I would look good in that, but that dress is pretty awesome. And I also, like, I know at least a few of these, I did try to make some price adjustments because some of the prices they had for this stuff was, like, crazy. Like, I think that dress was like $40 initially. I think I tried to bring it down to like $35. So there's some things that I don't get a lot of, I guess, profit off of. And Redbubble isn't as profitable as something like Etsy. Like Etsy, I try to price things to have at least 100% profit. And, you know, I buy things up front in bulk to do that. But Redbubble, you know, I still get a little bit of money from it. And really, it's just to have a way to offer merch in a way that isn't like super cost inefficient for me. Like t-shirts is really inefficient to do up front because you have all the different sizes and different designs and they're very expensive even to buy in bulk. They're like $10 a piece. So you have to put up a lot up front for it. So I think it's worth it to just be able to do like a vanity press and just do print on demand. But if anything's really popular, if I see you guys ordering a lot of certain things, I might do a bulk order of them and keep them in the Etsy store and then have them for shows and stuff. So it's a little bit of a experiment for me as well to be able to see what you guys actually want to buy and what you guys actually are drawn to from a design standpoint, and I can use that information to be like, okay, so these are popular, maybe I can actually like bring these to a convention or something like that. And speaking of conventions, I also want to talk a little bit about that. We do have a lot of events that we're going to be doing in 2020. Some of these I'm attending as a vendor. Some of these I'm attending just as a fan, as an audience member. Others I'm attending as some kind of like guest or speaker. But these are the events that I so far plan on attending in 2020. As I said, Captain Comics Expo in Charleston's coming up in February. I'll be vending there. I'll have the first physical copies of Paradisa along with Blu-rays of Livescream and also a line of the new merch and old merch. I'll be attending Saga Conference as a vendor in Charlotte, North Carolina in March. I'll be part of the Muggles Market vendor room. we have the Detroit Evolution premiere. That's going to be in New York City, basically the day before it premieres online. TBD on the date, of course. You're still not getting it out of me. Don't try. But that is going to be between March 7th and May 22nd. I can tell you that. It's going to fit right there in the schedule. So if you want to come meet us in New York, keep an eye on that. If you're in the New York area or in the tri-state area, definitely pay attention to when we announce details on how you can attend, because it will be a fan invitational, not invitational, a general admission screening for fans who want to attend, along with hopefully some kind of like after party afterwards. I'll be at the Crimson Screen Film Festival, probably not screening anything, but definitely there as an attendee. I'll be at Con Carolinas as a guest and a vendor. I've applied to vend at the Southern Fried Gaming Expo in Atlanta in July. I haven't heard back from them, but I'll probably be going to that regardless. Shannon Strucci has really recommended that conference to me. They live streamed there a couple years ago, so hopefully they'll dig it. I'll be a guest and probably also a vendor at Congregate in Winston-Salem. That used to be in High Point, Greensboro, but now it's moved to Winston-Salem, so it's a lot more central. I'll be at Genre Blast Film Festival, probably screening something in Winchester, Virginia. They offered the premiere of Seven Deadly Sins last year. And finally, I'll be at my Mother and I's conference, Atomicon, at the end of the year. So we've got a lot of different opportunities where, especially if you live in the Carolinas, you can come see us and come check us out. There will be more appearances added as they happen. Also, definitely check out Falstaff Books, their website or their Facebook page, because John does a lot of conventions as well, so you might be able to pick up a physical copy of Parodies at one of the conventions he does, because like I know he goes to LogicCon and JordanCon and a lot of other ones. He definitely does DragonCon, so if you go to any of those, you might be able to and maybe get a signed copy. I don't know if he's going to have any of my copies signed in stock, but I might sign a couple for him and let him sell them, and maybe you can pick up one of those from him. All right, so now that we've got all that pitching out of the way, what else we got for this year? We've got 4 very mysterious projects, and I think that this one in particular, this one in June, is probably a pretty big surprise. This is a collaboration with my friend Michael Whaley. If you followed me on Instagram or if you followed us since Detroit Awakening, you guys know that Michael Whaley has done the behind the scenes and also location stuff for both those films. He's been really helpful in making both of those movies happen, and he's also a director in his own right. We've been collabing on each other's films for quite a while. Last year, I think 2 years ago, it's still January, getting it right, in 2018, he made his most recent short film, which I actually produced. I did some paperwork and some creative stuff for it, called Killer Assistant. This is a mockumentary horror comedy about the personal assistants to famous movie killers. It has gone to several film festivals. I think it's been nominated, possibly even won some awards at several film festivals. And it has been doing its festival run for a while. And I talked to Michael about it, and I said, you know, what are you planning on doing with this film once it's finished? I helped produce it, so I feel like the fans might be interested in seeing it. And much like with Michael Smallwood, we agreed to distribute it first through Patreon and then later through YouTube. And here is the trailer for Killer Assistant.
Movie killers. They've been an integral part of film since the beginning. And we found out that they have a well-kept secret. Killer assistant.
Hi, I'm Stuart.
Hi, Stuart. My name is Nancy, and I'm the personal assistant for I just basically keep everything uber organized. I keep up with his schedule. I sharpen his machete.
And these killers, they could not do what they do without me, buddy.
Right now, I currently work for
That's like working for what, 6 people?
10! Woo! 7.
I mean, hey, why do this if we don't love it, right?
Now, as was said, that will be coming to Patreon exclusively in July, or June, rather. Maybe I got that wrong in the trailer. I think I did get it wrong in the trailer. I'll have to fix that. It will be coming in June, and then later it will be coming to YouTube in, I guess, September or October. We'll see. You know, I'm very professional. I know exactly what I'm doing. I think it's because I did move around my release schedule a little bit, so I guess I got confused. But that will be in June, definitely, for Patreon, and then a couple months after that publicly. We're really excited about this. It is a short film. I think it's between 10 and 12 minutes, somewhere thereabout, and it is a mockumentary, much like The Office with Killer Assistants Anonymous. We had a lot of fun making this, and if you recognize Gunnar Willis from the trailer, he was the star of Livescream. So if you've seen Livescream, you know how talented he is, and it was cool to have him aboard as well, along with Lizzie Mears and Jason Buterin, who are both very prominent in the indie horror scene themselves. So if you're into indie horror, if you're into the film festival circuit, that is a lot of fun. We'll figure out the release date at some point. All right, now the next thing I want to preface by saying that this is also not a film, and it's not a book. It's something that I've been wanting to do in the back of my mind for a really long time. What we've got coming up in July, actually July, not June, is a response to a lot of the feedback that I've gotten, especially since you guys have rallied around Octopunk and since Detroit Awakening came out. I've gotten a lot of DMs and a lot of messages and letters from people over the months asking for advice on film, on how to do what we do, on how to make it as a filmmaker, on how to do distribution and that sort of thing. And I have so much information to share, and I've always struggled with answering those questions because I always feel like it can't be boiled down into a little, one paragraph thing about advice and, go on your way. I'd have to download like 3 years of my brain into you guys to be able to fully articulate how this happened, how we worked to this point, what I believe my mistakes were, what I believe the things that I did well were. It's, and also, like, my starting point as, being a person who went to school for chemistry, being a person who did that for a few years, made savings, didn't have any student debt. Like, there's a lot of circumstances in my life that also allow me to do what I do that don't have anything to do with talent or hard work. They're just circumstantial. But the more I thought about it, the more I do actually want to share sort of how this all came together and what my thoughts are on how to be a successful filmmaker in 2020, especially thinking outside the box of traditional distribution and the Hollywood system. So that inspired me to create something entirely new called the Octopunk Film Lab. This is going to be an online video course. It's going to have 2 different tiers. One is just the video course, which is going to be very similar to Masterclass. If you've ever, seen the advertisements for Masterclass with like Sam Jackson and Helen Mirren and, all these different famous people who talk about kind of their specialty and their profession. So the video course is going to be designed a lot like that. It's going to be very esoteric in that I'm talking about the business side of things, the creative side of things, the ethical side of things, how to network, how to, just like lessons learned across the course of my career so far. This is not a technical course. This is not going to teach you how to set up lights, use a camera, build a DIY dolly. If you want to do those things, you can go to YouTube, you can watch Film Riot, you can watch free tutorials that have been made for like the last 10 to 15 years on, guerrilla filmmaking or indie filmmaking or, hustling. This is about the actual internal things that you have to have in order to succeed in this industry, and also how to work with actors, how to treat people right, how to prioritize things on a set, how your you should expect to feel when you're in post-production, how you should expect to feel on your first premiere, how to move from shorts into features, and how to raise finance. There's a lot of practical things. They're not just philosophical. But yeah, I'm really excited about this because I think it's going to be extremely comprehensive. I'm going to try to share everything that I know. I'm really not the type of person who's going to just like leave things out because I see anybody as competition. I really want to help folks and be able to give them a perspective that you might not have before, especially because I do the hybrid of content creation and filmmaking. When I was first starting out, like right around the time Livescreen premiered, I felt very lost because I knew that I did not want to depend upon a bunch of gatekeepers and agents and sales reps and distribution companies to give me pennies for my movie, maybe sell 5 copies of it, and then put it, in a vault somewhere. I wanted to be able to connect directly to you guys and connect directly to a fan base and hear you and be able to give you what you want instead of having to go through a system and having to go through a bunch of people who will say no between me and you. And there was like nobody out there who had kind of done it before, maybe with the exception of like Rooster Teeth. So I kind of like looked at Rooster Teeth as a model. I was like, all right, Rooster Teeth has the ability to hear their community directly and to give their community what they want directly. And their community can also give them ideas for things and tell them what they want to see. And I really loved that. And unfortunately, every filmmaker I talked to who was kind of a mentor figure was just like, well, I do this for financing, and then I do this for sales reps, and then I do the festival circuit, and then I do this for a distro, and then, maybe I'll make some money. And I didn't like that. So yeah, this Film Lab seeks to be kind of an in-between and kind of the holding the door open behind me for the people who might want to do what, I did 2 years ago and looking for this kind of information. In addition to the video course that's kind of like masterclass, which will be at a lower price tier, there is also going to be a mentorship one-on-one course version of this where I'll be taking on a limited number of folks and actually doing one-on-one calls with them, reviewing their scripts, trying to help them develop a project that they have in progress, and giving a more personalized, intimate experience through the Film Lab. And all the information about this as far as the different tiers and the different options, what's all going to be included is TBD, but it will be coming in July. And so I'll definitely have more information about that as I design the course, as I film it, as I start putting things together. I can tell you there's definitely going to be a video element to it. There's definitely going to be workshops and downloads and all that sort of stuff. And I do want to do that mentorship thing as well. So yeah, stay tuned for Octopunk Film Lab if you are interested in the craft and the art of filmmaking and also the business and in becoming a professional at this and doing this full time for your livelihood. I think that that's going to be a really valuable experience for everybody here. All right, now back to films. We got 2 other things left to reveal. And in August, I think you're going to be very, very happy to see that we finally have a release date for 7 Deadly Sins. This is when you're finally going to get to see our long-suffering short film. I'm setting the date. It's happening. And although I do not have a trailer to share with you guys today, I do have a clip from the film. So this is your first look publicly of some footage and some finalized edit of 7 Deadly Sins.
Did you see a ghost?
Something like that. Like a really smug ghost with a really nice synthesizer.
Do you think it...
Technical all day. Oh, come on, OBS. OBS froze. I'm gonna go back.
Something like that. Like a really smug ghost with a really nice synthesizer.
Do you think his synthesizer is also haunted?
Wait. Is that Ryan? No. No way I'm gonna stick around and watch him play after what he did to you.
It's fine. It'll be about 8 seconds before one of these neon EDM assholes starts slinging silly bands at him.
All right, so that was your first look at Seven Deadly Sins. Don't mind the interruption of OBS just deciding to crap itself in the middle of my clip. Yes, it's not you, it's me. So yeah, Seven Deadly Sins. If you guys have been following along with us since May of last year, you'll know that we shot this quite a while ago. It's kind of been in development hell a little bit. It did a little bit on the festival run, but there's some things that we need to edit out and fix about it, and it's just sat on the back burner because Detroit Evolution has now consumed my life, and I didn't really have a window of time to do the work on this movie that is required to finish it. But I've carved out the time. We are going to be releasing this on Patreon in August. It will be coming publicly a few months after that. So as with the other movies, you're going to get a Patreon exclusive first and then have a wide release shortly after. I do believe that this one might have a release that is a little bit later than it normally would be, because we're going to, once it has been finished editing, we're going to put this back on the festival circuit and try to do more of a festival run with it once we're happy with it. And I don't know how long that festival run is going to last. So that's going to be what determines the actual public release date of it. But we'll definitely be doing Patreon release for all patrons, $1 and up, regardless of the level. And that will be in August. And what is last? So, this is something that I know that you guys have, I'm pretty sure you haven't heard anything about this. This is On the Road Again, a short film that is coming to Patreon in October. It is appropriately spooky for Halloween, as it is a horror movie. This is the first in a series of projects that you guys are helping create. So I want to step back a second and talk about how now that Detroit Evolution is over and pretty soon will be paid for entirely, where is the Patreon money going? Where are your donations going? Where is your Twitch subs going? And I will admit that a lot of it is going to helping support me create content, run the Patreon, have time, and not have to be so worried about taking clients and stuff on top of that. However, I wanted to make sure that at least a good portion of that donation and support and pledge is still going to creating films. So now I'm in the position to be able to actually financially produce scripts and projects that I don't have to write and direct, which is a really cool position to be in because it allows me to foster talent and it allows me to create content for you guys and create a steady stream of films coming out without having to stress myself with actually writing, directing, editing, producing, organizing multiple projects a year myself, because that is unsustainable. It's a lot more straightforward and a lot more satisfying to be able to pass along financing to a script that is within a low budget, and also gives our actors like Maximilian opportunity to work and to do more stuff for you. And speaking of that, On the Road Again stars Michael Smallwood and Maximilian Koger. It's going to be directed by Michael Whaley, who did Killer Assistant. This is his script about a couple who is driving through the night when they hit something with their car. And everything that happens after that, you'll have to watch the movie. So Michael and Maximilian will be playing a couple in this. That's something you've never seen before. And on top of that, like I said, this is going to be the first in a series of optioned projects. Michael Smallwood and I have talked about some scripts that he's got in the back burner that he would like to maybe produce as well. So the project that comes after On the Road Again is probably going to be a new Michael Smallwood project. These are going to be short films, you know, all under 10 minutes. that give you an opportunity to see your guys on screen again with new and interesting scripts and stories that you guys help make happen through your donations to Patreon, your subscriptions to Twitch, your purchases of the merch, and your support of Octopunk Media. This is where it goes. So I hope that you're really excited about this. I think that this is going to be a really dope film. We're going to try to get Brett Mullen, our cinematographer from Detroit Evolution, to come aboard for this. So a lot of the crew is actually going to be the same from DE. Pretty much the only difference is that Whaley's going to be doing the writing and directing instead of me, but I'll be doing all of the production side. And I'll probably end up getting roped into doing the sound for this one. And yes, Hardy Low, it is a horror movie. It is going to be an October release on Patreon due to it being a horror film. I think this one will probably have a much later public release because it's going to premiere on the film festival circuit a couple of months before October. So if you want to be the first to see it, that would be at a film festival. We'll definitely keep you posted on that and keep you posted on screenings and premiere dates and that sort of thing. So if you want to see it and you're not a patron, but you don't want to wait all the way till YouTube, you might be able to catch it like a live screening at a festival near you. We're going to try to spread that pretty wide because I think it's going to come out really, really dope and really have the potential to go far in the festival circuit. But yes, that would be a Patreon exclusive in October for $1 and up patrons, and then later will be released online. I would be remiss to mention that we do actually have one more project coming up this year that isn't on the timeline because it's not actually going to be released through us this year. That would be a 2021 release. But I do want to talk about Femme Fatale. This is a movie that me and Michael James Daly, who plays Parker in Detroit Evolution and also was the center of the Brady Bunch in Livescream, if you know what that means. He and I have been working on this project for almost 2 years now, trying to raise finance, trying to nail down the script. We recently won Best Short Screenplay at New York City Horror Film Festival with the script for Femme Fatale. We have almost finished raising funding for it, so we are planning on shooting this in June of this summer, having it finished by September, and then starting a festival run with it in October. And then once it does a little bit on the festival circuit, it'll be coming to you guys on Patreon probably in January, February next year, so early 2021, and then publicly later in 2021. So I don't really have anything for that today because there's no like release data for it or anything, but it is something we're going to be shooting this year. It's going to be something we'll be working on, and you might see some content for it on Patreon, such as behind the scenes pictures, a trailer, a behind the scenes featurette, that sort of thing. And we'll also be sharing, casting information and everything like that. This is another film that Michael Smallwood is going to be in. Maximilian, I don't think is going to be in it as of yet, but Michael Smallwood is cast. A lot of Octopunk people from before Livescream, like Kathleen O'Shaughnessy, like Michael Whaley, are going to be involved in this one. So it's a very local film. I'm getting back to my roots of the actors who were in my early work. So you'll get exposed to some really talented people who live and work here in Charleston. So that is what's coming up with Femme Fatale. Other than that, I think that's it for everything that I have to show you guys today. That is the complete timeline for Octopunk Media 2020, starting with How Many Times on the 14th, so that's just in a couple of weeks, going through Paradisa, my contemporary fantasy novel that's coming out on the 27th, Detroit Evolution's wide release and live premiere in April or May, Killer Assistant coming to Patreon and then later to YouTube. We've got Octopunk Film Lab, which is a new interactive video course that will take you through the craft of filmmaking and content creation. Seven Deadly Sins finally comes to Patreon in August. And then our new film, On the Road Again, the first of our series of Octopunk produced projects from other filmmakers starring Maximilian and Michael, coming in October. As always, I like to end the broadcast with our P.O. Box. This is P.O. Box 62762, North Charleston, South Carolina, 29419. We have, we accept anything except explosives and food. I'll be checking that soon. I can finally drive again after my surgery, so I'll be getting that real soon. So if you've been waiting on me to check the P.O. Box, if you've sent me something, don't worry, it will be this week, hopefully. And yeah, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for all of your support that you have given us through the past year. The fact that I can even do something like this and have people that care at all, and also just be able to be in a point where I have a lot of stuff to share is really incredible, and not something that I ever could have anticipated even just a year ago before Awakening came out. So I really appreciate all of your support and all of your care in the things that we do, all of the excitement that you share with me, not just for books, or not just for films, but also for books and stuff like the Film Lab and beyond. And hopefully this will be a really, really cool year that'll open a lot of new pathways for us in making things even beyond what I have shared today. As always, stay great, hydrate, and have a happy time zone.